Welcome back to the best training channel on YouTube. I know videos aren't popping up right now as often as they used to. I've got a lot of things in the background that I'm kind of working on that's taking up a little bit of time, and editing videos isn't the highest of priorities on the list of things to do right now. But still going to be getting out some videos for you guys. Today's video is going to be a little bit different. Over the past couple weeks, as I'm kind of ending this strength phase that I've been on, I'm also trying to think about what I want to transition to as I go into the next phase. And some things that I've been doing over the last couple weeks is going to the basketball court, doing some extra jump workouts at the basketball court, basically in the form of just doing about 8 to 10 to 12 like dunk attempts or hard jumping attempts. And I feel like that's something that I want to kind of improve on. I'm having a lot of fun just getting out of the gym, doing something that's a little bit more athletic. It pairs really well with doing some sprint work and doing some strength work. So I think that's going to be the transition on where I want to go to for the next training phase, which in my mind right now is just trying to train to be a better jumper, specifically like a better dunker. So that means practicing doing different dunks, the coordination, the timing, all of that, it goes into like dunking a basketball into a hoop. I've got the jumping ability right now to jump fairly high. But what I'm noticing is a fun challenge is like learning how to lob the ball up and time my approach at the same point to where the ball is at its peak when it bounces, whether it's going off the backboard, doing all that kind of stuff. So it's just a fun thing to do that I think is going to be the main focus for my training after this phase is over. A couple other things that I'm doing for this last little bit for the training is I'm taking out the Olympic lifts because I've already started to do more of like the basketball jumping and it's just extra volume. So I had to pick something out, and since the Olympic lifts haven't been a priority of this training phase, taking them out isn't going to change up too much of what I'm doing. So more jumping sessions at the basketball court, even playing a pickup game once or twice a week. That means taking something out somewhere else. That way I'm not burning myself up. So that's kind of what's been going on. But today I've already started with a little bit of my jumping. I'm just doing kind of a jump over some sort of an object. So I'm using this box here to kind of raise my center of mass a little bit, add a little bit more downward force as I go into a jump, kind of like a depth jump, even though technically it's not. You can call it a depth jump if you'd like, but just doing single repetitions, alternating what foot I start with on the box, because that's going to change how my reaction of my plant foot is going to be out in front. So starting on top of the box, jump over, and then the next repetition I'll do with my right foot on top of the box, same type of setup. But the idea here is you're kind of working that penultimate step as you go into a jump. So for those that don't know, a penultimate step is the last step you take before you initiate your jump. I am a 2-footed jumper, not a very good 1-footed jumper. So my penultimate step would be like that last step you take as you go into your load and that jump. So that step I just took before my right foot hit, so that would be like a left leg penultimate, is there to one, drop your center of mass a little bit, allow yourself to kind of load into a position to where you can explode and jump through. Also kind of maintain and be able to carry your speed as you transition from horizontal to vertical. There's got to be some sort of a transition there. You're not just going to be running full speed and all of a sudden just pop up in the air. So that penultimate step does both of those really well. I don't really care whether it's a long penultimate step or a short penultimate step, but ultimately the main goal is it should set you up to be able to explode. You don't want to just be like upright running and try to jump from here. You don't have enough loadability in the legs to explode vertically. So you should be doing something with that penultimate step where you lower your center of mass and you're able to explode. If you're a one-footed jumper, then that penultimate step would be, let's say, if I were to jump off one leg, it would be my left. Let's say I was going to take off for jumping up and trying to dunk a basketball with my left leg. That right leg is going to be bringing my center of mass down a little bit. You're going to load that left leg and then take off from there. So that penultimate step is very important. This box variation is kind of just a way to kind of over exaggerate as you have to bring up your center of mass before you bring it back down and take off for the next rep. So last rep I did was on my left leg. This rep is going to be on my right. And there you go. So I'm gonna do probably 2 more reps on each side, and then we're gonna move on to some different jump variations for the rest of today's session. Couple approach jumps using that same setup. So one approach loading through the left leg, one approach loading through the right leg. And we're just gonna do a box jump using a med ball, trying to just explode a little bit more from what we did previously. So a couple sets here, not a lot of volume on this specifically. I have a 7 kilo med ball. I feel like I might be able to actually dunk 7 kilo med ball, which is kind of insane. I feel like that's 10 feet. Maybe I bring a med ball to the basketball court and see if I can't throw down a med ball. A few sets of those, and then we're gonna move on to some back squats. All right, jumping is done for today. Now we're moving into the strength portion. So I forgot my knee sleeves and I forgot my weightlifting shoes. So today's squat session might be a little bit different than previously. So I'd put my basketball and my basketball shoes in my gym bag, went to the basketball court, left it in the car. When I came to the gym this morning, I was thinking to myself, oh, my gym bag is in the car. So I went out there, and when I got to the gym, I realized that I didn't have my weightlifting shoes or my knee sleeves in there. So generally, I like to keep the movements the same. So if I start off a training block and I'm using weightlifting shoes, then I like to continue to use weightlifting shoes. And if I'm using knee sleeves, I like to continue using knee sleeves. I don't want to change it up from week to week. It's not a huge difference from wearing knee sleeves and not wearing knee sleeves, or wearing weightlifting shoes and not wearing weightlifting shoes. But you just want to keep the variables as minimal as possible when you're going from a week to week thing, at least on the movements that are your main focus movements. So back squat's a main focus movement of mine. So we're gonna do 3 to 5 sets of 2 at kind of like a moderately heavy weight, given the fact that I don't have knee sleeves and I don't have weightlifting shoes. So that moderately heavy is probably gonna be different than it would be if I had a little bit additional support wearing those 2 pieces of equipment. But I'm gonna knock out some warm-up sets, probably do some 3s and 4s to start off on my warm-up sets, bring myself down to 2s. And when I feel like I'm at a good weight that's moving still relatively quick and feels moderately heavy, we're just gonna count that as set number 1, and then we'll knock out anywhere between 3 to 5 total sets on the back squat. My legs are feeling it just a little bit. I did spend a good hour at the gym doing some dunks. What I've noticed also about doing some dunks at the court is most of my training has been involving some variation of jumps. But I'm always doing those jumps to a box because I know that that's gonna save my legs so I can do more stuff within that training session. When you go to the basketball court, there's no box. You're jumping up and you're landing. And the reason I use a box, like I said, to save my legs, is because it lessens the impact of that landing. The box isn't necessarily a goal to try to get to. The box is there to lessen the impact from landing, from jumping from whatever height that you're jumping. So I do a lot of that in my training. I went last week to the court for the first time. I was there for like 20 minutes, jump around a little bit before I went to the weight room. I went again yesterday and I was there for about an hour trying to do different dunks and just get in some volume. And what I've noticed is that pounding of the landing has really fatigued the legs a lot. And that's one reason why I was kind of doing that box jump over the box today, to just give myself like a cue to make sure that I'm staying consistent with the jump, but then also not landing on the box, but landing on the ground to try to introduce more of those impacts as I'm doing the jumps. And then obviously followed it up with the box jump with the med ball. But another thing I should say too is that first jump variation at the beginning of today's video, that penultimate step or like approach depth jump or whatever you want to call it, that isn't something that I came up with. I don't remember exactly which coach I saw do that first. I know it was a coach from an NBA team. It was either Daniel Bove or it was Corey Schlesinger. Sorry for butchering your name. It was either one of those two coaches that I took from. I remember seeing it months ago and thinking, oh, that would be a cool kind of variation of a jump training I could do. So shout out to both of them, one, but then also sorry for not giving credit to who I stole that from, because I don't remember who I stole it from. I'm sure I could go look back on my Instagram and find a saved post from somebody, but that isn't a variation that I came up with. That is something I took from someone else. I don't want you guys thinking that I'm trying to pass that off as my own. 170 doesn't feel as heavy as I thought it would. Maybe we'll do some increasing sets today. So I wanted to do 3 to 5. So we'll count on 170 as my first set. We're gonna throw on 10 kilos. Maybe go 170, 180, 190, 190, something like that to kind of do today's squat session. Those feel pretty good. I think I'm gonna go to 200. Whew. All right, I think that's good for back squats today. That's gonna be it for today's video. I'm gonna finish off with a little bit of bench press, but I want to leave you guys with this real quick. We still have the 5,000 subscriber goal. We're about 200 plus-ish away from that goal. And once the 5,000 subscribers is hit, I'll be releasing the speed program for free for everybody. 8-week speed program. Everything you need to do 5 days a week laid out for you out on the track so you can become the fastest version of yourself. So I'm really excited to get that out. I know the channel has been growing slower than previously. Part of that is due to the fact that I'm only putting up about 1 to 2 videos a week right now, but the goal is still 5,000 subscribers. So make sure to like, make sure to subscribe. I appreciate you guys watching the video, and I'll see you in the next one.